So why have we asked you to join us today? Although the proposed wind farms in the Irish Sea will lie outside of the Isle of Man's territorial waters, they would have a significant impact on the island. Clearly, the most obvious impact could be on the shipping routes, and in particular the routes operated by the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company. However, the wind farms proposed by Celtic Array, a joint venture between Centrica and Don Energy, aren't just an issue for the Steam Packet Company, they are potentially an issue for everyone who lives or does business on the Isle of Man. Shipping services provide the Isle of Man's lifeline. There are between 4 and 8 sailings each day between Douglas and Heysham and Liverpool, with more than 500,000 passengers carried each year, both residents and visitors. Around 400,000 metres of freight trailers are shipped each year. These provide the essential requirements for businesses and public services and for the island's social and economic well-being. The Isle of Man government does not have any objection to the principle of wind farms or renewable energy. However, these wind farm locations as currently proposed by the developers are unacceptable in their current form to the Isle of Man government and will seriously affect the ferry operator, the island's business community and island consumers, the tourist industry and passenger interests. Government, the Steam Packet Company, the Chamber of Commerce, the Manx Hospitality Partnership and Travel Watch Isle of Man are all here today united in calling for the developers to take note and accommodate the Isle of Man's needs by providing for direct shipping requirements and weather routing options. Thank you for listening to my opening remarks, and I'll first of all ask Mr. Woodward to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Can I just say in opening that the Steam Packet has served the Isle of Man and Liverpool route for more than 180 years and the Heysham route for more than 100 years. These routes are the island's lifeline. We've made our concerns to Centrica and Dong very clear over half a dozen meetings over a period of 2 years. I have to say our view is that we've largely been ignored to date. We've raised concerns with the UK Planning Inspectorate, the UK Department for Transport, the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency and the UK Chamber of Shipping, all of whom have been supportive. The map of wind farms, which you see behind me, actual and proposed, paints a disturbing picture, I think, for every resident, business and visitor to the island. It's essential that developers recognise the cumulative effect of the different developments that are shown on that map. They ignored this point when they held an exhibition recently, and we found that their exhibition was, as a result, seriously misleading. As shown on the map, the proposed Centrica North East zone, this is the upper shaded area in red, will be built straight across our Liverpool track. The point of access between the Walney extension, which is in yellow, and the top of that zone is a mere 3.8 miles, and that effectively is our front door between us and the UK mainland. If the North East zone is built, our passage times from Liverpool will increase by about 11 minutes with a fast craft and more than 20 minutes with a conventional ship. Passage times to Heysham are already looking at probably in excess of 5 minutes as a result of the proposals showing on board there. And I just want to make a case in point. Last Monday, a week ago today, we had a council sailing, and that was followed by a sailing which was very marginal. And if you look at the sailing track that we've done here very kindly by the Department of Infrastructure, it shows that sailing only proceeded because the weather was such that the master felt he had to take a southerly track, and he went straight through one of the areas which would be unavailable to us if the wind farms were built. So it's a clear and present demonstration of exactly what the effect would have been. Not only would we have lost one sailing which would not have gone in any circumstances, but we would have lost a subsequent return sailing as a result of those wind farms, effectively cutting the island off for 24 hours. As I say, there are significant delays anticipated if these zones go ahead. That has a cumulative effect. Longer passage times and late evening arrivals in Douglas mean inconvenience, they reduce revenues, and they reduce tourist numbers ultimately. But it's not just about extra passage time. Between October and February, we estimate 45 days typically of gales, i.e. more severe gales, force 8 and above. During the same period, there's probably 110 days of force 6 and above. Now, what our assessment of the routes that we'd be left with if these proposals were developed means that we would expect to lose perhaps 20 additional sailings than we do at the moment. Now that's a significant number of sailings for an island community during a deep winter period. And that avoids the fact that on many of those other days where we might not lose a sailing, the master would still be unable to route for the best comfort of passengers and to avoid cargo damage. So I just need to make clear that this is a serious threat to the Isle of Man's economy, to the steam packets business, and to, I think, every resident who lives and works on the Isle of Man. And I need to make clear also, we're not against developing renewable energy. We understand the need for it, but it should not be at the expense of long-term established lifeline routes which provide vital goods and service connectivity. In short, the proposed virtual wall of wind farms must be prevented. Thank you for your time.